Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic.
I'm Barry P. Cook. We're here to talk about episode 2 of She-Hulk. It was called Superhuman Law. As it begins, we see that the events of the courtroom from the end of last episode have made the news. And the term She-Hulk is coined during a man on the street interview, much to Jen's chagrin. But she transforms in order to please the adoring crowd at the pub she's gone to, who are chanting the name She-Hulk. And she has a few drinks before her boss shows up and asks her to change back into her normal self so that he can fire her from her job as assistant DA, because her transformation biased the jury towards her and against the defendant, which caused a mistrial, and he's not happy about that, and he doesn't want stuff like that to happen in the future because she's a Hulk now. And it was funny because she immediately feels the effects of the alcohol she's been drinking, where she wasn't feeling it as She-Hulk, which I guess makes sense because she says, different metabolism between the two personas, which wasn't my understanding. My understanding was that since they had the gamma, stuff in their blood, their metabolism was changed regardless of what form they were in. But I guess that's not how they're playing it. But okay, anyway. It was funny because she's sober and then she's instantly kind of drunk talking to her boss, but she gets fired, which is a bummer. Just before that little scene takes place, her male coworker is there and he says some rank shit, which is going to piss off the anti-woke crowd, but there you go. She then finds, though, after being fired, that nobody really wants to hire her for pretty much the same reason that her boss fired her. They don't want the distraction. They don't want to deal with the issue of the fact that her being a Hulk is going to, have an effect on perceptions, so she can't seem to get a job. She goes to a crazy family dinner where she laments the stuff that's been happening in conversation with her father as he tries to cheer her up. She then goes back to the bar where the head of the law firm that was opposing her in the last case says she wants to hire her, and she takes the job. And then on her first day, he explains that he wants her to be in She-Hulk form on the job so that she can be the face of a new division dedicated to defending superhuman people who find themselves in trouble, with the law, which, of course, she doesn't love, but she goes along with it. It turns out that the Abomination, who previously tried to kill Bruce, the Hulk, wants to hire her personally for his defense. And when she balks at the idea, the new boss tells her that she needs to take it if she wants the job and that she should meet the Abomination before she makes a decision. And he tells her, look, he signed a waiver saying that it's okay that you're related to Bruce. He's not going to, claim that you were biased against him and therefore didn't defend him properly. So it's okay to take it. You need to make a decision. So she goes to the prison to visit him, but in order to access it, she has to turn back into Jen because they don't allow superhuman powers to be used in the prison. At that point, she tries to make a Silence of the Lambs joke, while she's on the way to the cell, but the guard is having none of it. I thought it was funny. Abomination is there, of course. He's in his human form, and he insists that he's a changed man. Oh, yeah, sure. Who only did the stuff that he did because he'd been injected with a super soldier serum and was under the influence and had been sent out by the government to deal with Hulk. And that, it's not his fault. Apparently, he even wrote to Bruce to apologize for his actions, which Jen finds out about when she calls Bruce to tell him that she's taking the case, which she does because she didn't, she wanted to sort of smooth it over with him because how can you defend the guy that tried to kill me? But he says, no, it's cool. He sent me a letter. We're on good terms. Don't worry about it. Just, do your thing. And when he hangs up the phone, we see that he's in space aboard a Sicarian ship. So we're going to see more about that, I would think, in coming episodes. She tells her boss that she'll take the job, after which she discovers that Abomination has escaped from prison since she was there and has gone to participate in a fight club, and that it's made the news, which is not great for a lawyer who's trying to defend a client who says he didn't, he's not guilty of violently trying to kill the Hulk or whatever else he did. And that's where they left the episode. So, I thought it was a good episode. I think I'm going to like the character better as a defense lawyer than I would have as a prosecution lawyer, because that's, well, I don't know. There might have been equal opportunity. But anyway, I think the courtroom stuff is going to be, it could be, I should say, where we're going to see the character, or at least the things that she does around the cases, are going to be where we see the character struggle with moral dilemmas, which is what you want to see on, a superhero show. At least it's what I want to see. And so I'm looking forward to her having to work through this case and any other cases that she might, have to deal with over the course of the season. Although I think this probably is going to be the only one because it's pretty big and there are only 7 episodes left now in the first season. And we're already seeing signs of that because she took the case based on the idea that, well, yeah, he tried to kill Bruce and he did bad things and he's a criminal. But wait a minute, was he set up by the government, to be in this position where he was going to end up here because he was committing criminal acts on their behalf? Did the fact that they gave him the serum have something to do with it? Is he kind of a victim? So we're already sort of exploring that, which I think is going to be interesting. And, I'm looking forward to her struggling with the whole concept of identity, because she has to be She-Hulk on the job now, which she never really wanted anything to do with it. She figured she had it under control and didn't need to ever change. And so she wasn't going to, but now she has to live in that persona. And it's part of what Bruce was trying to tell her, this is your life now. You can't just put this in a box. You've got to come to terms with the fact that, you have to live in this skin part of the time, and it's going to affect your life in certain ways. And you have to, there's going to be emotional and psychological fallout, and you're going to have to deal with it. And she was so convinced that she wasn't going to have to, but now she's going to have to. So we're going to get to see her do that. And again, that's the kind of stuff you want to see. At least it's the kind of stuff that I want to see. And one of the things she says is, "Oh, I don't like the She-Hulk name because it just casts me as a derivative of Hulk." And the anti-woke crowd is going to say, "Oh, that's her complaining about, just being viewed through the lens of a man, that she's connected to." And so she's making a feminist, point by saying that. Maybe, but I think anybody in that position, Robin in the comics has struggled with being under the shadow of Batman. Oh, that's Batman's sidekick, never Robin. People in real life have struggled with stuff like, yeah, I'm a lawyer, but I'm not the district attorney. That's my brother. So everybody refers to me as the district attorney's brother. So that's something that human beings struggle with in real life. That kind of thing where they are viewed as a plus one, basically, or an offshoot of something else rather than their own thing. They're always viewed in connection with that thing that came before them or that is more prominent than them. So we're going to see her struggle with that, it would seem. So I think it was a good second episode. There was, humor. There was some stuff in there, like I said, that the anti-woke crowd isn't going to like. But I think what they're setting her up for is a season where she overcomes various struggles. And they've decided to make those struggles things like misogyny. And as I was just saying, being viewed as an extension of someone else. And, the moral dilemmas of the whole superhero thing and the government's involvement and, reaction to superhero stuff. And how does that contribute in any way to people doing things that are against the law? Is the government culpable in some of these cases? Stuff like that. And I think they're setting her up to overcome those things. But yeah, misogyny and the whole male thing, male dominant society thing is one of those things. And the anti-woke crowd is going to say, "Oh, they should have left that out. Why do they have to harp on that?" But it's a thing. It's a thing that women deal with. It just is. So they've decided to talk about it. And I don't think we should fault them for that. Murphy Brown, the show Murphy Brown dealt with that sort of stuff. Mary Tyler Moore dealt with that sort of stuff. So it's nothing new. And it's reflective of an aspect of reality. What you want them to do is try to balance it out so that it's not heavy-handed, so they're not piling on men. I haven't really seen them pile on yet. They certainly could. And if they do, I will call it out because they shouldn't be piling on. They shouldn't be heavy-handed. But bringing that stuff up, peppering that stuff into the stories, so that the story has a point of view is fine. So we'll have to see how it goes. And I think some of it is done for comedy value. They're just poking fun at jerky dudes, and there are jerky dudes. The question is, are they going to poke fun at women? It remains to be seen. If they don't, and if it's unbalanced, I'll call it out. So far, I'm not sure it's going to be unbalanced. But anyway, I'm enjoying the show. I'll definitely be back with a review of episode 3 once it's released. I'm going to get out of here for now. Until I return, I wish you peace and long life.